Welcome to Vital Voices of the Environment, a Marstel Day production. This is Rebecca Rubin. I'm here with Dr. Robert Hirsch. Bob Hirsch is a Senior Energy Advisor at Management Information Services, Inc., MISI, and a consultant in energy, technology, and management. Dr. Hirsch, tell us, what is oil peaking and what is it not?
Peaking of world oil production refers to the maximum production of oil worldwide. The situation is that oil production has increased to fuel economic growth for more than 100 years, and we're reaching the maximum that's going to be physically and maybe politically possible, and after that oil production will go into decline, which will be a significant problem for the developed and the developing world.
How did you become interested in oil peaking?
A number of years ago, I did a study looking at long-range planning associated with energy research and development, and one of the issues that popped up was the peaking of world oil production. The more I looked at it, the more difficult and ominous the problem looked to be, and so I dug into it further and further, and have been doing research and speaking out on the subject ever since.
When you first started to think about these issues and their interconnectedness, what were the first types of questions that came to you that you felt needed to be answered that had not yet been sufficiently answered in the literature or elsewhere?
Well, when I got into the problem, I found that a number of different people had done different analyses and come up with different conclusions as far as when peaking might actually occur. And because I have some background in geology and reservoir engineering, I was able to dig in and better understand why it is there were differences of opinion. One of the problems is that the data that one has to deal with in making these forecasts and estimates ranges from being very good, as in the United States, to being unavailable, such as in the Middle East, where oil production, oil reserves are state secrets. So the data is mixed. People were forecasting a variety of different dates for when peaking might occur. When I first got into it, it looked like maybe it could be 20 years into the future. As things have progressed since then, it now appears that peaking, in this case defined as oil production going into decline, is likely to occur within the next few years.
Are the effects of peaking different depending on where you live, what country you live in?
Well, that's a good question. The United States, because we are so dependent on oil, is going to be hit badly. We import something close to 70% of the oil that we use now. Interestingly, Russia is an exporter of oil and of natural gas, and so they're going to be in much better economic conditions than we are. China, which is a major growing force in the world, is importing more and more oil itself, so it's going to have a problem. But then again, it started on mitigation before we have in the United States. One can't really say we've started to mitigate the problem yet. The Middle Eastern countries that have oil reserves and oil production are already swimming in money. When peaking hits, there'll be another windfall, and they'll have even more money, so they're going to be in good shape. A country like Mexico, that was an oil exporter and still is suffering because its oil production is now in steep decline. Again, the kind of thing that's going to happen worldwide. One can then go down the list across the world. Clearly, folks in Africa that have substandard standards of living are going to be hurt very badly. They're already being hurt. It's going to get worse for them.
What end state do you think we need to get to in order to be able to live comfortably in a world that has to inevitably depend less on oil?
Well, we'll work our way through this problem. There's no question about that, because I just have faith in human beings, and we're not about to roll over, and we are going to go through a lot of unpleasantness, and it's going to take a couple of decades to achieve a new balance, something that is more sustainable for the longer term. What we get to will likely be much more electrification of automobiles, possibly hydrogen fuels as means to fuel vehicles and different kinds of machinery and so forth.
Dr. Hirsch, thank you for being with us here today on Vital Voices of the Environment.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be with you.
This has been Vital Voices of the Environment, a Marstel Day production.